Welcome to the deep dive. We take your sources, could be articles, research, even our own notes, and we really try to boil them down to those key aha moments,
Exactly. Think of it as a shortcut, maybe, to being really well informed on something.
packed with insights you might have missed otherwise. Today, we're diving into, well, a real emotional heavyweight, a novel that really shifted things in its genre.
That's right. And our goal isn't just to recap what's in the source material. We want to dig into why it matters, to the bigger picture. So for this deep dive, we're looking at the huge 2012 YA novel, The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. And we've also got an in-depth review of it.
Yeah, we're aiming to pull out some surprising bits, some interesting details, all tailored just for you.
Okay, let's get into it.
So The Fault in Our Stars, it came out back in 2012, and wow, it wasn't just another book, was it?
Not at all. It was like a cultural moment. It absolutely launched John Green into this whole other level of fame, especially in YA.
What do you think made it just explode like that right off the bat?
Well, one key thing, I think, is how personal it was for him. Green drew a lot from his own life, specifically his time working with a young cancer patient, Esther Earle.
Ah, okay.
That realness, that raw connection, it gave the story this authenticity you can really feel.
That makes sense.
And even the title, The Fault in Our Stars, it's fascinating. It flips that famous Shakespeare line from Julius Caesar.
Right. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves.
Exactly. But here, Green is sort of suggesting, no, for these characters, their fate, their illness, it is in their stars. It's beyond their control.
That really sets a specific tone from the very beginning, doesn't it?
It really does. It frames their whole struggle.
So with that backdrop, we meet Hazel Grace Lancaster. She's 16.
Right. And she's living with stage 4 thyroid cancer. It's spread to her lungs.
So she often needs an oxygen tank, lives a pretty quiet, isolated life.
Until her parents kind of push her gently to go to a cancer support group.
Which she really doesn't want to do.
No, not at all. But she goes. And that's where everything changes, because she meets Augustus Waters.
Gus.
Gus.
Describe him for us.
Gus is. Well, he's got this confidence, this charm. He makes a big impression. And he famously carries a cigarette but never lights it.
The metaphor.
Yes, the metaphor. He's a cancer survivor himself, osteosarcoma, lost his leg, but he's in remission when they meet. He's got this swagger, but there's depth there too.
And their connection is, like, instant.
Pretty much. But it's not just, a simple crush. It's built on this incredibly sharp, witty conversation.
Yeah, they're smart.
Very smart. And they share this kind of dark humor about it all, this cynicism. And then there's this book.
An Imperial Affliction.
Right. This fictional book by a reclusive author, Peter Van Houten. They both become obsessed with it because it just ends. Mid-sentence.
Which must resonate deeply with them, especially Hazel.
Absolutely. It becomes this huge symbol for them. It mirrors their own anxieties about life being cut short, about needing closure, needing answers. Hazel really fears her story ending abruptly like the book does.
So Augustus, wanting to get answers for Hazel, uses his genie wish.
Yeah, his wish from a cancer charity. He uses it to take them both to Amsterdam to meet the author, Van Houten.
Which sounds amazing, like the ultimate quest.
It's built up that way. So much hope invested in it.
Yeah.
But the meeting itself, it's a disaster.
Oh, no.
Van Houten is just bitter, drunk, cruel. He completely shatters their image of him. It's this really harsh collision of their sort of idealism and a pretty grim reality.
Wow. That's rough. But the trip itself, Amsterdam, it sounds like it was still important for them.
Hugely important. Despite the Van Houten disappointment, their relationship really deepens there. They connect on an emotional and physical level. It's this incredibly intense, beautiful moment for them.
A pocket of joy, maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's tragically brief. Because soon after, Augustus has to tell Hazel his cancer is back.
Oh, Gus.
And it's bad. Aggressive.
Yeah.
Terminal.
So the final part of the book.
Yeah, the final chapters are they're tough. They chronicle Gus's decline, his physical deterioration, but also their emotional journey, how they cope, how they prepare for losing him. It's incredibly moving.
And it culminates in his death.
It does. Augustus dies, and Hazel is left to figure out how to navigate this immense grief, but also hold on to the love they shared, find meaning in it all.
Is there any sense of closure for her after the Van Houten disaster?
There is, actually. It turns out Augustus wrote a letter, kind of a eulogy for Hazel, and sent it to Van Houten. Eventually she gets to read it. It doesn't fix everything, obviously, but it provides this really vital bittersweet kind of closure. It reaffirms their connection.
It's such a powerful story, and beyond just the plot, it's so full of these big ideas, these themes.
Absolutely.
Let's unpack some of those. I mean, right away, you're hit with mortality and the meaning of life. Death isn't just looming, it's woven into everything.
And with such realism, right? No melodrama. It forces you, the reader, to think about life's finiteness.
And Hazel has that powerful metaphor. She sees herself as a grenade.
Yeah, terrified of the pain her eventual death will cause, the collateral damage. It's such a raw fear.
It really is, which ties directly into the theme of love in the face of death, doesn't it?
Definitely. Their love story is central. It's incredibly tender, but it exists entirely within the shadow of death. It knows it's temporary.
Yet it feels infinite somehow, that quote.
Some infinities are bigger than other infinities. It captures it perfectly. Love, even a short love, can hold a kind of infinite meaning.
Which brings up those big existential questions about oblivion.
Right. Both Hazel and Gus wrestle with the fear of being forgotten, of their lives not mattering in the grand scheme of things.
Gus especially, right? He wants to leave a mark.
He's very driven by that desire for legacy, for significance.
Yeah.
It's a big part of his character and maybe masks some deeper fears.
How does that play out for Hazel, do you think?
Hazel seems less concerned with leaving a mark on the world and more focused on minimizing the harm she causes to the people she loves. It's a different kind of focus.
And through it all, what really impresses me is how they fight against being defined just by their cancer, that illness and identity theme.
Yes. Green does such a good job of humanizing them. They're teenagers with wit, desires, flaws. They're people who happen to have cancer, not just cancer patients.
They push back against that label.
Constantly. And then there's that clever metafiction element with an imperial affliction.
The book within the book.
Yeah. It works on so many levels. It symbolizes their own search for answers, but also, maybe more profoundly, it comments on storytelling itself. That need we have for neat endings.
Which life, especially with terminal illness, rarely gives you.
Exactly. It's a reminder that sometimes stories just stop, unfinished. It's quite a challenging idea, really.
Okay, so we've talked about the story and its themes. Let's shift gears a bit to how it's told. John Green's style. It's very distinctive. Hazel's first-person voice is key. She's so introspective, got this dry wit, but also incredibly poignant.
Yeah, the prose itself is often quite poetic. Lots of smart metaphors, literary nods.
And the dialogue. It's sharp, isn't it? Really intellectual, almost philosophical sometimes.
That's definitely a hallmark. And it's something people talk about. Is it too smart for teenagers?
Right, that's the criticism sometimes. Unrealistic.
Some argue that, but others feel it gives the characters and the story its depth. Green isn't necessarily going for strict realism there, maybe.
He's creating a certain kind of world.
Exactly. And those metaphors you mentioned are crucial, like Augustus and the unlit cigarette.
Yes. Explain that one again.
He holds the cigar between his lips but never lights it. He says, it's a metaphor, see? You put the killing thing right between your teeth, but you don't give it the power to do its killing.
Wow. It's about control then.
Precisely. It's this small act of agency, controlling the thing that could harm him, even as he faces something he ultimately can't control. It's such a memorable, powerful image.
It really is. Okay, let's zoom in on the characters themselves. Hazel Grace Lancaster.
Smart, sarcastic, deep thinker. Torn between wanting connection, wanting love, and that grenade fear of hurting the people she loves. She's very protective.
And Augustus Waters.
Oh, Gus. He's all charisma and confidence on the surface, obsessed with legacy, with being remembered. But underneath, there's that deep vulnerability, that fear of oblivion we talked about. He's compelling because he's flawed, too.
He feels very real, despite the stylized dialogue sometimes.
Absolutely. Then you have Peter Van Houten.
Ugh, the author.
Yeah. Bitter, alcoholic, kind of cruel. He represents that harsh reality check, the gap between the art we love and the often flawed, disappointing people who create it. He's vital, thematically.
He really pushes them to grow up fast in that Amsterdam scene.
He does. And we can't forget Isaac.
Right. Gus's best friend dealing with losing his sight.
And heartbreak. He brings humor, but also real pathos. He shows another facet of dealing with loss and illness. Adds important layers.
So it's clear why the book resonated. How did the wider world respond? Critics.
Overwhelmingly positive, really. It got massive critical acclaim. Praise for that emotional honesty, the philosophical depth, how it tackled big themes for a YA audience.
But there were criticisms too, besides the dialogue.
Well, the dialogue was the main one, that perceived lack of realism. But even critics generally acknowledged the authentic and respectful way it portrayed terminal illness. It avoided being overly sentimental, which is a tricky balance.
Yeah, that's tough to pull off.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it treated the characters and their situation with real dignity.
And then came the movie in 2014.
Which just amplified everything. Shailene Woodley as Hazel, Ansel Elgort as Gus.
They were great, weren't they?
Fantastic casting. The film was a huge hit, commercially and critically, for the most part. It was praised for being very faithful to the book, capturing that tone, that emotion.
So it really cemented the book's place in pop culture.
Absolutely. It brought the story to an even bigger audience.
Yeah.
And the cultural impact. It was significant.
Oh.
Well, The Fault in Our Stars really pushed conversations about serious illness, about death, about philosophy, right into the mainstream for teenagers and adults, too.
It made those topics less taboo, maybe.
I think so. And it arguably kicked off, or at least popularized, that subgenre people started calling sicklit.
Right, books focusing on teens dealing with major illnesses.
Exactly. And beyond that, think about the quotes.
Okay,
It's
okay.
like became this huge thing.
Oh, yeah. Everywhere?
T-shirts, fan art, endless online discussions. That phrase became this symbol, this shorthand for their promise, their understanding. It really permeated the culture.
Okay, so we've done the deep dive. Strengths, weaknesses, impact. Time for the verdict.
Let's do it.
For me, the strengths are huge. That emotional punch, it works for pretty much anyone, any age. Makes you think, but it's accessible. And the way it handles illness with empathy, it's powerful. It encourages you to reflect on big stuff, love, life, death. What's the core strength for you?
I agree with all that. I'd add its bravery in facing the harshness of illness head-on without being just bleak. It finds that balance. Now, weaknesses. We mentioned the dialogue potentially feeling too literary.
And some might find the plot, well, a bit predictable given the setup.
That's sometimes mentioned,
Yeah.
where it's likely heading. And related to that, some felt it could be emotionally manipulative at points. Do you buy the predictable critique?
I see it, but I think the power isn't in if it happens, but how they navigate it, the journey, the moments, the characters. That's where the richness lies, predictability aside.
Fair point. So who's this book for?
Definitely fans of YA contemporary, anyone interested in stories that grapple with philosophy, existential questions, and really anyone looking for a deeply emotional, thought-provoking read about love, loss, and what it means to live.
So our final verdict, drawing from the review and our discussion, it's a beautifully written, incredibly moving novel. It captures that bittersweet mix of joy and tragedy in young love under impossible circumstances.
A meditation on life, loss, courage.
Absolutely. The review gave it a solid 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's a book that stays with you. Definitely worth experiencing.
So as we wrap up, maybe take a moment, think about Hazel and Gus, their journey. What does it suggest to you about finding meaning, finding love when time feels short? How do we live fully knowing things are impermanent?
Yeah, and maybe ask yourself, how do stories like this one, fictional or real, help us wrestle with those huge questions about life, death, and what we leave behind? What kind of legacy, big or small, do you hope your story leaves? Something to think about.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into The Fault in Our Stars. If you got something out of this, maybe found a new perspective, please do like, share, and subscribe. It helps others find these conversations.
We appreciate you tuning in.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.